April 27, 1943. A fisherman named José Antonio Rey Maria pulls his boat up to the beach at Punta Umbria, Spain, just after dawn. The tide has left something heavy rocking in the foam. At first he thinks it's wreckage. Then he sees the yellow life jacket, the pale face, the silver chain glinting around a black briefcase. One dead British officer has just washed into history. In the next hour you're going to hear the wildest true story most Americans have never been told. How a homeless Welshman who died alone in a London warehouse ends up saving thousands of GIs before they ever fire a shot. How two quiet British officers turn a tragedy into the greatest deception of World War II. And how one waterlogged briefcase convinces Adolf Hitler to move his best panzer divisions exactly where the Allies need them gone before the first landing craft ever touches Sicily. This is Operation Mincemeat, and it starts with a man nobody wanted, dressed up as the courier the Germans can't resist. Picture this. It's the cold spring of 1943. Lieutenant Norman Llewellyn Jewell, United States Navy on loan to the British, commands the submarine HMS Seraph. His sealed orders are simple: take aboard a 6-foot steel canister weighing 400 pounds, keep it cold, sail 1,100 miles south, and at precisely 4:30 a.m. on April 30th release its contents 1 mile off the Spanish coast. Jewell is told only that the success of the next invasion of Europe rides on it. Inside the canister lies Major William Martin, Royal Marines, born 1907, service number 148227, currently very, very dead. Major Martin carries a wallet with 2 love letters, a receipt for a diamond engagement ring from S.J. Phillips of Bond Street, London, ticket stubs to a West End show dated April 22, an overdraft notice from Lloyd's Bank for £79, 19 shillings, and twopence, a St. Christopher medal, and a pencil stub. In his briefcase are letters marked, personal and most secret, that will reach Hitler himself in less than 2 weeks. None of it is real. Major Martin is really WW2 Michael, age 34, born in Aberbargod, Wales, who swallowed rat poison in an abandoned warehouse near King's Cross because he had no family, no job, and no hope. Now 2 brilliant officers in Room 13 of the British Admiralty, Lieutenant Commander Ewan Montague and Flight Lieutenant Charles Chumley, have given him a second life as the perfect spy. They dress him in hand-tailored battle dress, size 38 chest, 32 waist. They sew real Royal Marines buttons. They rub the uniform on a stone floor to scuff it just right. They put yesterday's newspaper in his pocket. They even give him trench art, a tiny silver cross made from a 6pence by a Wren secretary who never knows why she's doing it. The love letters are written by a girl in the office named Pam, signed with real kisses in real lipstick. The crown jewel is a letter from General Sir Archibald Nye to General Sir Harold Alexander in Tunisia, casually mentioning that the upcoming attacks will hit Greece with the cover name Operation Husky, while Sicily is only a feint. A second letter from Lord Louis Mountbatten to Admiral Cunningham drops Sardinia as another target. Both letters are addressed in envelopes marked, by officer courier only, and clipped inside an official War Office folder. Everything is designed to look like it survived a plane crash over water. At 4:15 a.m., April 30th, 1943, HMS Seraph surfaces in a rolling sea off Huelva. Jewell assembles his officers on the wet casing. For the first time he tells them what they're carrying. Silence. Then the Royal Navy's shortest religious service ever. Jewell reads Psalm 39. They unscrew the canister, slide out the body, inflate the Mae West, attach the briefcase chain to the belt with a length of picture wire, and gently lower him over the side. The propellers turn slowly astern to push him toward shore. By 7:30 a.m. Major Martin is found by José the fisherman. By 9 a.m. the local German Abwehr agent, Adolf Kloss, is on the beach taking photographs. By noon the briefcase is in the hands of the Spanish Navy, who promise London they'll return it unopened. They don't. In a back room in Madrid, Spanish officers working for German intelligence steam the envelopes open with a kettle, photograph every page under ultraviolet light, reseal them with identical wax, identical thumbprints, identical everything. The film packets race by diplomatic bag to Berlin. May 9, 1943. The photographs land on the desk of Colonel Alexis von Wren, head of Fremd Heer West, German Army Intelligence. Von Wren is no fool. He hates Hitler and secretly feeds bad intel to shorten the war. He stamps the documents, 100% genuine. May 12, 1943. Hitler reads them in the map room at the Wolf's Lair. He slams the table and says, "The real attack is coming in the Peloponnese and Crete." He orders the 1st Panzer Division transferred from France to Greece immediately. He sends reinforcements to Sardinia. He puts Field Marshal Rommel in charge of Fortress Balkans. He tells his staff Sicily is only a feint. Every single decision is catastrophically wrong. Because the real target is Sicily, Operation Husky, set for July 10, 1943, 160,000 American, British, and Canadian troops, 3,200 ships, 4,000 aircraft, 7 U.S. and British divisions, the largest amphibious invasion ever attempted. And now the best German armor is 2,000 miles away. Back in London, Montague and Chumley wait in agony. They've broken every law, used a real corpse, forged letters from generals, risked the whole war on one throw. If the Germans call the bluff, Sicily could cost more American lives than Tarawa, Saipan, and Iwo Jima combined. Then the miracle message comes from Bletchley Park on May 14. An Enigma intercept quotes the mincemeat letters almost word for word. Hitler bought it hook, line, and sinker. Churchill, in Washington with President Roosevelt, receives the cable marked, "Most Secret, Prime Minister Only." He looks up and says just 5 words, "Mincemeat swallowed rod, line, and sinker." Now let's bring this home to the American boys who are about to hit those beaches. Meet Private First Class Felix Giuffre, Company E, 16th Infantry Regiment, 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One. 20 years old, Brooklyn kid, enlisted the week after Pearl Harbor. On the troopship Samuel Chase, June 28, 1943, he writes his mother, "Dear Ma, they keep saying the Germans think we're going to Greece. If that's true, maybe I come home with all my fingers and toes. Tell Pop the food's better than the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Love you always, Felix." Felix has no clue a dead man from Wales just moved the Hermann Göring Panzer Division out of his sector. Or take 1st Lieutenant John T. Spaulding, also Big Red One, leading 3rd Platoon, Easy Company, 16th Infantry, the very first wave at Gela, Sicily, on July 10. Planners expect the beach to be held by the Hermann Göring boys with 88mm guns and Tiger tanks. Instead, because of Major Martin, those tanks are on trains heading for Athens. Spaulding's men hit the sand against Italian coastal troops who surrender by the hundreds, waving white bedsheets. Spaulding writes his wife that night, "Honey, we took the beach in 37 minutes. I lost 1 man, to a sniper. I keep pinching myself. Something big is looking out for us." Sicily falls in 38 days instead of the 90 the planners feared. Total Allied casualties, 24,800 instead of the expected 90,000. Mussolini's regime collapses 15 days after the fall of Palermo. The road to Italy lies open. Every mile the 45th Thunderbirds march, every hill the 3rd Infantry Division seizes, every bridgehead the 36th Texas Division fights for at Salerno owes a silent debt to a man who never wore a uniform in life. But here's the part that still gives historians chills. Sealed British files stamped, "Not to be opened until 2035, hint that mincemeat was only the beginning. There were other canisters, other bodies, other briefcases dropped that spring near Crete, near Greece, near North Africa. The deception web was far larger than anyone has admitted. And the biggest shock of all, when those 73,000 American boys of the 1st, 4th, 29th, and 82nd Divisions finally storm Normandy on June 6, 1944, why is the entire German 15th Army, 20 divisions strong, still sitting idle around Calais, waiting for Patton's ghost army that never comes? Was Major William Martin still fooling the Germans a full year after his death? Because right now, 300 miles east of where GLWR Michael went into the water, another fishing boat has just pulled a second canister from the surf off Crete. Inside is a different set of plans, a different dead officer, and a lie so big it will keep Hitler looking east right through D-Day itself. You're not ready for what they find inside. The second canister breaks the surface at dawn on May 14, 1943, 30 miles off Cape Melias, Greece. Greek fishermen haul it aboard, thinking it's American aviation fuel. Inside is the frozen body of a captain in the Welsh Guards, papers identifying him as Acting Major Richard William Howard, carrying a letter from General Eisenhower's personal order that the main Allied thrust will hit Crete within 6 weeks, with a secondary landing at Kalamata on the Peloponnese. That body never existed either. He is the backup plan, the insurance policy, the second act in case the Spanish package failed. His name in real life was John Melville, a young London vagrant who died of pneumonia in St. Pancras Infirmary. Montague and Chumley dressed him in a different uniform, gave him different love letters, a different bank overdraft, and an even bigger lie. The Germans find him exactly on schedule. The Abwehr photographs the documents within 48 hours. Hitler reads them the same week he reads Major Martin's mail. Now the Führer is certain, the Balkans are the real prize. He pours concrete, steel, and blood into Greece. The 1st Panzer Division, 300 tanks, fresh from refit in France, arrives in Thessaly by the end of May. The 11th Italian Army is reinforced. Fortress Crete gets 3 extra coastal divisions. Rommel is handed command of a brand new army group Balkans that exists only on paper. Every train rolling east is one less train waiting for American paratroopers in Normandy a year later. But the boys storming Sicily on July 10th never know any of this. Take Sergeant Mike Provenzano, 180th Infantry Regiment, 45th Thunderbird Division, from Oklahoma City. He hits Red Beach 2 at Skogliti with the 3rd wave. The intelligence map shows 2 full regiments of German coastal troops backed by mobile 8/8s. Instead he finds a handful of terrified Italian teenagers who throw down their rifles and yell, "Americano." No shoot. Mike writes home that night. "Mom, I'm writing this sitting on a captured Italian 75mm gun that never fired a shot. The whole beach was ours in 20 minutes. I saw the Mediterranean sunset tonight and thought of you and Dad on the porch in OKC. I think I'm coming home." He does. Because of a dead man he never met. Or take Captain Joseph T. Dawson, Company G, 16th Infantry, Big Red 1. Dawson's company is tasked with taking the bluffs above Colleville-sur-Mer. No, wait, that's Omaha Beach a year later. In Sicily he's at Gela, leading the assault that planners said would be a slaughter. Instead he walks inland 3 miles before he sees his first German, a scared 19-year-old from Leipzig who surrenders crying. Dawson later tells Stars and Stripes, "Somebody up there loves us, and I don't just mean the man upstairs." Sicily folds like a cheap card table. By August 17th Messina is ours. 38 days, 24,800 Allied casualties instead of the 120,000 the staff officers feared. Mussolini is arrested 8 days later. Italy switches sides 6 weeks after that. And still the ghost keeps working. Spring 1944. The Allies are now planning Overlord, the cross-channel invasion, D-Day. The problem is simple. If Hitler keeps the 15th Army, 19 divisions, almost 300,000 men, around Calais, the Normandy lodgment could be crushed in 72 hours. So the dead men ride again. Operation Fortitude South plants an entire fake army in Kent under George S. Patton, rubber tanks, fake radio traffic, plywood aircraft, even the Luftwaffe reconnaissance pilots swear, are real. Double agents controlled by MI5 feed Berlin a steady diet of lies. And every time the Abwehr asks for confirmation, the analysts in Berlin flip open the mincemeat file and say, "Remember Spain and Greece?" The British always attack where they say they won't. Hitler keeps the 15th Army frozen in place from March all the way through July 1944. June 6, 1944, 6:30 a.m. Private First Class Anthony Muscarello, 116th Infantry Regiment, 29th Division, is in the first boat at Omaha Beach, Dog Green Sector. The ramp drops. Machine guns open up. Tony is hit twice before he reaches the water. He crawls up the shingle dragging his wounded buddy. Years later he tells his grandson, "We should all have died that morning. I still don't know why enough of us lived to win." Here's why, Tony. Because the 352nd Infantry Division facing you was the only first-rate German division in Normandy. The rest, Panzerlehr, 12th SS Panzer, 17th SS, were late, stuck in traffic, held back by orders that traced all the way back to a briefcase that washed up in Spain 13 months earlier. Rommel himself is in Germany on June 6 celebrating his wife's birthday because Berlin intelligence swears the real invasion is still weeks away, thanks to the lies that started with Major Martin. By the time the Germans realize Normandy is the main show, the beachhead is 30 miles wide. The breakout begins July 25. Paris is liberated August 25. Hitler's last gamble in the West, the Battle of the Bulge, is fought with divisions that should have been in France 6 months earlier, but were rebuilding after the mauling they took in Greece, defending against an invasion that never came. Every frozen foxhole at Bastogne, every Sherman rolling toward the Rhine, carries the fingerprint of a Welshman who died believing nobody would ever remember his name. GLYNDWR Michael is buried in Huelva, Spain, under the name William Martin. The headstone reads, William Martin. Born March 29, 1907. Died April 24, 1943. Beloved son of John GLYNDWR Martin and the late Antonia Martin of Cardiff, Wales. Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. In 1998, the British government finally adds a line beneath. GLYNDWR Michael. Served as Major William Martin, RM. Ewan Montague lived until 1985. Every year on April 30th he laid flowers at that grave. He never gave interviews, never wrote the full story. When asked why, he simply said, "Some debts can never be repaid, only honored." So here's to the American boys of the Big Red One, the Thunderbirds, the Blue and Gray, the All-Americans of the 82nd, the Rangers who climbed Point du Hoc, the sailors who drove the landing craft through hell, the paratroopers who jumped into the dark. And here's to the quiet Welshman who never heard a shot fired in anger, yet saved more American lives than any single fighting division in the European theater. Because sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who give everything after they've already lost everything. And sometimes the tide brings in more than seashells. It brings victory. Thank you for watching. If a story like this doesn't make you proud to be American, check your pulse. Drop a like for GLYNDWR Michael, hit subscribe for every kid who came home because of him, and ring that bell so we can tell more stories the history books almost forgot. We'll see you in the next one. Semper Fi.